GitHub announced a secure open source fund, designed to support open source projects to improve their sustainability and security. They count with sponsors like Microsoft, 1Password, Shopify, Stripe, Versal, and others. Participants will receive $10,000 per project in funding aligned with the program milestones and checkpoints. 3-week program consisting of a 5 to 10 hour commitment each week with a mix of one-to-one instruction, workshops, group sessions, project work, and mentorship. Projects will also have focused work towards project-specific security milestones agreed between the project, the program managers, and GitHub Security Lab. 6-month and 12-month checkpoints following the education. Dedicated time with the GitHub Security Lab team to establish effective security policies and best practices for incident management planning and support. Q&As with GitHub sponsors, funders, community members, and GitHub leaders. Access to security experts from the GitHub Security Lab. Q&As with GitHub sponsors, funders, community members, and GitHub leaders. Free access and training for relevant GitHub products, including tools like GitHub Copilot, Copilot Autofix, and secret scanning. Access to a new GitHub secure open source community. Ongoing opportunities for networking and support from GitHub. Preparing projects to navigate policies like Secure by Design and the EU Cyber Resilience Act. Program certification and biannual security health reviews. In Meta's GitHub is a recipe describing Llama, an open source project detailing a PDF to podcast workflow using large language models LLM. Since I'm a month late to this party, I'll let both Google's NotebookLm and a Hugging Space implementation of NotebookLm explain to you.
Hey there, welcome to our podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something really cool, turning PDFs into podcasts. Can you walk us through the magic?
Well, it's not magic, but it's pretty close. The first step is to pre-process the PDF using Llama 3.21b instruct model. Think of it like cleaning up a messy room. We get rid of all the extra characters and garbage that might be hiding in the PDF.
I love that analogy. So, what happens next?
Hey there, deep diver. Ever feel like you're just drowning in PDFs? Like you wish you could just absorb all that knowledge way faster?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It's a pretty common struggle, I think.
But what if you could like transform all those PDFs into like an engaging podcast?
Well, it's not magic, but it is the power of AI.
Okay.
We're going to be diving into a project today called NotebookLm. It's an open source guide to building your own PDF to podcast workflow.
So instead of staring at a screen, I could be like listening to a podcast version of all those research papers.
Exactly.
That'd be amazing.
And the best part is NotebookLm breaks down this whole process into like a manageable steps.
Okay.
And it uses all these different AI models for each of the tasks.
So it's like an assembly line.
Exactly, an assembly line for knowledge transformation.
Okay, I like that. Let's break it down then.
Okay, so it all starts with prepping the PDF.
Okay.
Kind of like cleaning and organizing your ingredients before you start cooking.
Right.
NotebookLm uses a smaller AI model for this, the Llama 3.21b instruct model. And it uses that to clean up the PDF and then output a nice and neat text file.
So it's like a dedicated editor, just for like tidying up all the raw material.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
That's clever.
And it's a smart move because using a smaller model for this first step makes the whole process more efficient.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
once the PDF is all prepped and ready, what happens next?
That's when we get to the exciting part.
Okay.
Creating the podcast transcript.
Right.
This is where the heavy lifting happens, and NotebookLm uses a much larger model for this.
Okay.
The Llama 3.170b instruct model.
Whoa, 70 billion. That's a huge step up.
Yeah, it's a big one.
What does this model do?
So this model is essentially the screenwriter.
Okay.
It takes all that clean text and then crafts a full podcast transcript complete with dialogue for different speakers.
So it's taking this like static document and turning it into a dynamic conversation.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. But I'm curious, how do we make sure the AI creates a structure that like actually makes sense for a podcast?
So that's where the magic of prompts comes in.
Okay.
The project uses a bunch of different system prompts to guide the model. And you can even experiment with these prompts to try and influence the output.
Oh, so there's a lot of room for customization.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And remember, you don't always need a massive model like the 70 billion parameter one.
Right.
NotebookLm also suggests trying out smaller models like the 8 billion parameter model.
Okay.
Just to see how those perform as well.
So it's about finding the right balance between the model size and what you're looking for in your podcast.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I like that. A lot of flexibility.
Yeah, so the transformation doesn't just stop there.
Okay.
We've got the transcript, but now it needs a little something extra to make it sound like a natural conversation.
What's that secret ingredient?
It's the Llama 3.18b Instruct model. This model's job is to sprinkle in some dramatization and make a more engaging back and forth dialogue, just like we're having right now.
Right, so this is like adding all the spices and seasonings to really make the dish flavor.
Okay.
I see. So this is what takes it from a very basic script to something people actually want to listen to.
Yep.
Okay, so we've prepped the PDF, we've created a transcript, we've injected a little bit of personality. What's the final step to really bring this podcast to life?
The grand finale,
Okay.
giving our podcast script a voice.
Of course.
NotebookLm uses two text-to-speech models for this crucial step.
Okay.
Parler Tell S, Mini V1, and Berksuno.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do they choose the right voices?
Yeah, and how much does the quality impact the final podcast?
Right.
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
So choosing the right voices is all about experimentation, just finding what best suits your style of podcast.
Right.
And you're absolutely right, the quality is crucial.
For sure.
Like if it sounds robotic, nobody's going to want to listen.
Right? No one wants to listen to a robot.
Grant from the Gates Foundation. Numenta has launched the open source 1000 Brains project, a new AI framework based on a brain-inspired theory of intelligence. This initiative provides researchers with a sensor-emitter learning framework, encouraging collaboration to develop AI systems that learn continuously and interact with the world more naturally than current deep learning models. The project's code, documentation, and intellectual property are publicly available under a permissive license, promoting wider adoption and community growth. Numenta aims to create a fundamentally different type of AI by leveraging insights from neuroscience research and its own decades of work in the field. The project includes community resources such as a forum, documentation, and recorded meetings to facilitate collaboration. But I hope something here was interesting. Goodbye.